dairy farm. So those things we are not going to cover into this. The farm uh, goods and marketing will also not be covered. It is a major part, because everybody does the dairy business, dairy farming business for goods to be marketed in the market. So those things we are not covering, and the farm labor, right? So we will be focusing on the dairy animal management, especially how to start a dairy farm and how to manage the dairy animals. So the sub points, if we can just go through quickly, is the animal selection and the cattle, buffalo, whether you are going with the cattle, buffalo, or goat, or mix of it, or which breed, and why that breed is you are selecting the breed, and if what is the age you are going to purchase the animal? Will it be the mix of the adults, mix of the heifers, and mix of the young and as the adult animals? And how you are going to transport, what are the technical support you are going to take into that, those things will be covering, and from where and how you are, at what cost you are going to procure it. Similarly, the feeding, the most important part of the farm management, the animal dairy animal management, is the feeding, and it covers about 75% of the recurring cost of the farm management. So the fodder, it could be green fodder, dry fodder, concentrate, and all those things. We'll be discussing on that. Group feeding, what are the group feeding and optimum feeding, and what is DMI and ration mixing, etc. We'll be talking about it. And in breeding, what we are going to do is breeding policy. There is something what should be taken into consideration when we are talking about the breeding. And that is AI and natural service or something like that. Or heat, what is the heat and what is PD and what are the economic traits we'll be covering into this. When we go to the next slide, then we see the health, the fourth point, and the fifth point is animal management, where we'll be taking the overall management of the farm. So these are the five distinct sub points will be our discussion will be limited to. And what we are not going to include is the detail of the feeding. Is a huge subject, so it cannot be covered in half an hour. So that's we have omitted that. We have been looking for the opportunity once we talk on the feeding of the animals and details of the breeding of the animals and health. These three things are major points in animal management, and that requires a lot of time to have a discussion and get the discussion on that. And for that, the details, if it is required, you can visit to our site www.dairyconsultancy.in, and there are a lot of papers, a lot of articles have been published, and those articles may help you that how to feed the animal, how to breed the animals, and how to manage the health of the animal. So that we will be omitting this. Animal management is, we are talking here in animal management. Overall, everything is animal management, but the animal management part, in sub point, we are going to cover the major general points. Right? These are we'll be discussing on that. So let's take animal selection. Animal selection is most important. Means before that, you should have a clear mind what you are going to do. You are going to do for the milk, or it is for the breeding, that you will be selling the animals which are in high demands in the Indian market, and especially the indigenous breeds. They are in a really high demand. Everybody looking for that, and somehow the total the stream is changing from the crossbred cows to the indigenous cows, and indigenous cows being crossbred with the hybrid of the foreign breeds, and as well as with the 100% pure semen of the indigenous breeds. So that is going on. That is the current scenario in Indian market and Indian dairy system, that people are mostly divided into two parts. The one is that the milk, they will be trading with the milk, and they will be doing the business with the milk products and farm products, fresh milk. And the other one that they will be, though the milk will be there in the farm, but they will be mostly trading in the animals, like the heifers, calves, or cows. Now, once we are clear that which stream we are going to take, we are going to take the milk stream, or we are going to take the animal sale stream, then the we have to select the best. It is a kind of animal is actually the cow is actually the milk converting machine. Means the garbage is fed to the grasses are fed to the animal, and these grasses are converted into the very valuable point that is called milk, a very valuable product that is called the milk. And it's a complete food one way. Everybody knows that. So whatever best you are going to do in the animal selection, you are going to get the best out. If you are going to do the worst, then you will be getting the worst. It's the best in, best out, and worst in, worst out. So at the time of selection of the animal, this is most important to devote some time to take the help of some of the technical support while selecting the animal, because animal is the machine. If the machine itself is purchased wrongly, then obviously the production will not be that much what we are going with the object. So the object may not be fulfilled if we are not devoting time in the animal selection. So for that, since the animal selection is dependent on various traits of the animals, which are the breeding traits, how can you select a breed, particular breed? Suppose you want to buy the gir animal. What are the breed? How does it look like? What should we look into when we buy the animal? And these are all technical issue, and that is why there should be some technical support taken in that time by the local veterinarian, local paravet, and also throughout the knowledge of the consultants. They will be helping you that what to look while going to pay for the animals, right? And to procure them. And it's most important, the animal is in a heavy body, more than 600 and more than 500, 600 kgs. So how to transport the animal? These are live animals, and they need their feed and their comfort while they transport. So those things are most important when you are bringing them to the farm. So before establishing the farm, these two things are very important. One is the clear of the mind, what I'm going to do. The second, do I have the resources? If I have the resources, then one of the resource is the land, another is the animal. So there comes the housing and all those things later. So if these two things are there, you will be very comfortable establishing a dairy farm. Right? So then, now if you go to the which animal, what do you want? If you really want a buffalo, if you want a cow, if you want, it should be a buffalo farm, it should be a cow farm, it should be a mixed farm, it should be a goat farm. So that has to be. If you buy bad, you get bad. If you buy good, you get good. So that is about the animal selection, most important. Generally, in Indian scenario, it is missed. Generally, they go with the hear and say there is no data. Most of the time, the data is not available about the animal you are buying. It's only hearsay you buy the animals. That is good. Going slowly and slowly improvement in that area. Feeding. The second part, the feeding, is most important. This is the crucial part, because this is the part where if you are able to manage the feeding of the animal, you are going to win the game in dairy farm management. So the fodders, it could be cultivated or it could be purchased from outside and preserved. It could be fresh or it could be the preserved fodder. Similarly, the green fodder, it could be cultivated and it could be preserved or it could be procured from the market. Concentrates concentrates are the costliest item of the feeding. As the feeding is the costliest part of dairy animal management, the concentrates are the costliest part of the feed. It takes about more than 50 to 60% of the feeding cost goes into the concentrate. So these concentrate management is very important. If you are managing concentrate management nicely and green fodder and dry fodder nicely, you will be able to win into the dairy farm management. The mineral mixtures and feed additives are additional things. They are not very costly because their volume is very low while feeding the animals. It will be decided by the consultants and by the technical person that what should be the feed additives. Feed additives are they compensate what are the deficiency in the soil and hence in the fodder. So those deficiencies are covered with the feed additives, right? Then the feeding has got a system, like it should be the group feeding. Means all animal cannot be fed with the same kind of ration. The ration should vary for the calf, for the heifers, for the cows. And for those cows, those are dry, but they are pregnant. And similarly for males, if there are bulls. So you have to group the animals, and after grouping the animals grouping also subgrouping required. Like in the cows, there are 4 groups available. Like those who are just parturited, those who are not yet pregnant, but they are in milk, just parturited, calf is small. So then one category. The second category is it is already inseminated and it is pregnant, but it is in the milk. Now the third category is it is the dry cow, dry period is going on. The milk is we have stopped taking milk from the cow and then it goes for the but it is the pregnant at the later stage pregnancy. And the fourth category is the cow which is dry period but it is not pregnant. So you have to control the feeding for all these 4 type of cows groups, and similarly heifers, calves, and bulls. So if you look at that, there are 6, 7 groups you have to form in farms, and then you have to feed the animals. That will save your money, and animal will be healthy in that case. The feeding is done on the DMI basis. DMI is what the dairy, the dry matter basis. Suppose you take the concentrate, it has got 90% dry matter. Actually, the dry matter goes into the body, and they are the material. Rest is the moisture. It is the water. So water also required. So, but the dry matter basis we calculate the feeding. Like the dry matter will be very low, say about 10 to 20% in green fodder, but dry matter will be very high in the dry fodder. Dry fodder, the dry matter would be about 70 to 75%. So based on the dry matter, we feed the animal, decide the feeding of the animals. So if you are making all these, and if you are making the proper mixing of the ration has got, as I told about, there are 5, 6 elements of the ration. One is the dry fodder, then green fodder, then concentrates, then mineral mixtures, and then feed additives, and then water itself. Because milk is having 85%, around 85% water. So that is also required. So ad lib water is provided to the animals. So feeding is most important. That's why we generally, whenever there is a requirement for the dairy animal management, we talk about the feed. The breeding. Breeding is most important. After all, what we want this animal should be pregnant, they should give to calf, and they should give milk, and we get the milk traded and go for the products and be on the profit. So that's what is our aim, as well as the animal should be healthy, happy, and enjoying when it is in the farm. So it should be AI, not the natural. Generally, still in Indian condition, the people are loving to the natural service, and many people are maintaining the bulls. Maintenance of bull in a farm is a very big issue, and if one bull you are maintaining, you can maintain at least 20 cows on that cost. So that much is the cost ratio between bull and the cow. So always going for, and plus, we do not know the vigor of the bull. What is the capacity of the bull to produce the milk? Because the bull capacity is decided with bull's mother and father. So, not going into those details, we will be only recommending that go for the artificial insemination and get the high graded breed semen, and that semen will definitely, the offspring from that semen will have a high vigor to produce the milk if they are fed properly. Most of the time in Indian scenario, heat is detected, heat is missed. Heat is always coming after a certain period. There is a cycle when the animals show heat that I'm ready to accept the seed. And that is the time the insemination should be done, artificial insemination should be done. Or even somebody is following natural insemination, that is the time the animal will accept the bull. And that enters, that results into the pregnancy. And once the pregnancy is setting, then you have to identify whether the pregnancy is there or not, or there is some other problem and animal is not pregnant. So for that, pregnancy diagnosis is important. That is done generally after 2 months. So suppose you have missed the heat, so you are missing 1 month. Suppose you have missed the pregnancy, I mean the insemination was not proper, an animal has again come into the heat. So you have missed almost 1 month or 2 months. In pregnancy, suppose you see the animal is not pregnant. So you are missing 2 months. So 2 months, and it is increasing the intercalving period. So overall, it is a loss for the farm itself. So we are talking on the economic traits. We'll only brush up the economic traits while going there for that slide. Go to the next slide. This is health and environment. These are the last parts. So deworming, we know that animal gets, grasses, and grasses will have larvae of various worms, and the worm enter into the body, and they harm the animal, and animal will not be able to be healthy, and it will not produce to the capacity. So these are the things we cover into the health part. Deworming, disinfection. Always milk is highly contagious. I mean, it attracts bacteria and viruses because it is a complete food. Once it is a complete food for the human being, it is a complete food for the bacteria and viruses as well, right? So they are attracted. So there will be infection, chances of infection. So always disinfection, sanitization is required in the farm. And most of the time you see in the Indian farm, especially the smaller farms, it may not be so clean. It may not be so much sanitized. It may not be so much disinfected. So even the deworming, people are taking at a lighter way, because most of the animals, they suffer. You will not know. The load will reduce the milk production. So you will not actually know that what is happening, right? So then vaccination. Vaccination is a schedule. The animal should be vaccinated. We are talking of the adult animal vaccination. We are not talking here about the calf and heifer vaccination. Adult vaccinations are, there are few vaccines and they should be followed that restricts the animal to, we have seen in the COVID period, the how vaccination and how the disinfection and how the sanitization has worked. So it's a animal is a live animal, and it has got all the possibilities of getting contacting the diseases. So these things are important to take care in the animal dairy management. Screening for diseases is the most important. Sometimes the paravets and vets in a week, once in a week, they should come. They should come and just have a round of the farm, and they will be able to know which animal is sick, which animal is not sick. Even the farmers start understanding this animal is, there is some problem with this animal. And then the paravets or vets are contacted, and that can be, even consultants can go and they can say that yes, these are the animals, they are not doing well, and there is some problem. And what are the problem that will be diagnosed? It could be infectious diseases coming up. It could be deficiency diseases because of the feeding. Uh, Maybe the grasses are lacking some of the elements, and it could be not up to the mark feeding. That could be a possibility. Or parasite, as we talked about the deworming, or even injury. When the animal is very heavy, animal sits and stands. So if there is a hard floor, so you will see a lot of bruise in the animal body, and generally at the joints. So that bruises are there, or in the hoof there is problem. So those things can be screened periodically, at least once in a week, by the technical person. It helps restricting the animal to not catch the disease or not go into the problem. It can be prevented. It's a kind of prevention method even one can take up. Similarly, if the animal we are buying from outside and it's coming to the farm, let us not enter the animal, same animal, into the older animals. We have to quarantine. We have understood what is quarantine. In COVID period, we knew what is quarantine. So nothing more to be discussed. But those animals should be kept under watch, whether they are developing some diseases or not. Isolation. Isolation is what, suppose we have detected that this animal is coming up with some of the infectious diseases. So obviously that animal has to be removed from the farm and kept in some other place where it cannot contaminate the other animals with those diseases. Fly management, mostly in India, hardly it is looked into. Even the bigger farms, there are bigger farms in India and they are coming up. People are becoming more and more aware about this, and they are managing the flies and dung. Dung and fly management, if you are not doing, 100% you are going to get the diseases. And diseases will wipe out your entire farm. And the last one I have written is the ban the human entry to the farm. If the public is entering in the farm and coming in contact with the animals, rest assured animals are going to get the disease. So we are talking about the deplacentation also, disposal of carcass. Suppose animal has died, what to do? So died of what? If it has died due to certain diseases, there are procedures given that how the animal should be, animal carcass should be disposed. And there is a deplacentation. Once the animal has calved and placenta has not come out from the uterus, it is going to create problem for the next pregnancy. So that has to be cleaned. So these are the minor things, if that has to be kept in mind for dairy animal management. Now, once we go to the animal management part, it is generally a common thing. Like management has to be divided animal to animal, like it is calf management, heifer management, cow management, and dry cows management, dry cows, pregnant cows management, and with the bull, if you are having in the farm the bulls. Managing bull is very difficult, so always we try to recommend for the artificial insemination. Bulls are generally furious. There are a lot of events, accidents in the farm, fights in the farm, so bulls should be avoided in the farm. Yes, if you are rearing a bull, if you are making a bull mother farm, if you are going for the semen station, yes, you should rear the bulls, no issue. Then the cows will be very limited. So these are the selections that what kind of business you want to do. Dehorning is most important. If you are doing dehorning, then that is going to reduce the risk of fighting and injuring animals. The horn buds are there in the calf stage, and that horn can be dehorned, so the animal will not get the horn. Ear tagging and RFID. Nowadays, radio frequency ID has come for the animals, and India is using it extensively. Tagging is an essential part in India. It is being used as it is used in the Western countries and developed countries. Castration. Castration is most important for the males. What we do that the males comes and they become the bull. and then they start fighting and injuring the animals. So the best way is to castrate them and take them for the bull power. Bullock power, and they become the bullock for the farming. Dung management, we have talked about the gobar gas, biogas, and the fly and dung management goes hand in glove. So if the management is poor, flies will be there. If the feeding management is not sanitized, not cleaned properly, and the flies are going to come. And flies are going to come, not alone, they will come with the diseases. Animal selection, what we have talked earlier, that is a part of the animal management. What you are going to buy and what you are going to keep in the farm. Similarly, fodder plants. Are we going to plant our farm with the fodder plant, fodder trees? Because all the time having watering the and so much of resources using for the green fodder cultivation, it's better to have the fodder trees and use the leaves for the fodder production, for the fodder of the animals. And these are very good for nutritious leaves that are being used in Indian condition. India is using extensively these fodder plants, fodder trees rather. In quality control and sale of the farm goods, that's most important. Unless your reputation is in the market that these farm products are very good. In the Western countries, foreign countries, most of the thing goes with the reputation and their cleanliness and their quality of the product and how they pack it and how they brand it, how they present it in the market. So depends on that. In Indian condition, this is missing. We say that okay, it should be rustic. It should be like direct from the farm. Fine, correct. But the handling, the preservation, the keeping, the ease for the consumer, all those things have to be kept in the mind when we are talking about the animal farm. Then goes to the insurance of the animal. Most important, if you have not insured the animals, you are going to lose if there is something happens or something, some diseases comes, they wipe out the farm. So you are losing the entire money. And it's not much. It's hardly 4%, 3.5% to 4%. Sometimes in transport is 1.5%. So it's not a much cost, but your animal will be safe. Generally, when we go for the financial linkages with the bank, this is essential part. Insurance of the animals and goods. Storage of ration and medicine and all. Most important to maintain the inventory. You cannot run in the mid of the night that this is not there in the farm. So inventory management is most important in the farm, and that the manager's job is to manage these things, like how the animals are grouped, whether the scheduled dehorning, and ear tagging and castrations, etc. is going on, dung management is going on, animal selection is proper. So storage and ration and mixing those things, your inventory is already complete. And accounting and finance, hardly any farm does. In India, still, even the big farms, even the organized farms, they are not doing the recording, they are not doing the accounting, and they are not doing the per liter costing. So they actually, what they say, that whatever we have spent and whatever revenue we got, they match on that and they say we are in profit in that. But there are lot many things which they don't record, like the labor, like the whatever produce you have got from the field. Suppose if for green farm, what was the cost you involved in the cultivating the fodder and feeding? At least for a month, at least for a season, at least for a quarter. So this kind of recording is missing every year. Most of the time it is missing. Or everything goes, the animal trade is completely on the here and say, this cow has given this much, so this is very good. But where is the record? Who was the father for this cow? No record. So those things are missing, which is very much present in the Western country. And traceability. Now, the farm, you are only coming and selling to it's a food item. You have to have a FSSAI registration if you are coming to the food item with the products. And then traceability from where it has come, which milk it has been used. So in the years to come, India has to cope up with these questions. Then what is the traceability of your product? You are in the market. You are putting paneer directly from the farm in the market. Agreed. Very nice quality. But what is the traceability? Suppose paneer has gone out of date. Then somebody want to trace it. Where it is, from which milk, whether the animal was tested, whether the animal was disease free. So all those things are going to come in future, because in the Western country, as what I see here in US, I'm currently in US. So I see everything they maintain, all records they maintain. Which animal was bred with which kind of bull, and what was the production optimality about the bull semen. All those things records are maintained. In our case, the breeding is left to the animal husbandry department. How they will be bothered? It is your farm. You have to be bothered what you are going to get after 9 months, 10 months, and how that calf is going to become a cow, and what kind of cow it's going to become, and you are going to feed. But we leave it to the animal husbandry department, and they also not bother. Whatever semen available, they will put the semen. So that is the irony that's going on in India, even in the larger farms. So larger farms have come with the one good thing, that they get trained their own persons for the breeding, AI, and first aid. So at least about 70-75% of the health part they take care, breeding part they take care, feeding part they take care. So that is the one strategy, that you get trained one person from your family. If you want to go for the dairy business, family or anybody whosoever you want, that he is an employee, he should be trained in the artificial insemination and feeding and breeding. And that will save you a lot for the money as well, and animal health as well, and your profitability. So these are the things we wanted to discuss on that. There are some pictures, not much of time I will take now. There are some pictures, they speak that what is in the Western countries and what is in both the pictures are in India. These pictures have been taken from Andhra Pradesh. And this is how they are managing. So both kind of farm you will get. One is just like let loose of the animals, and one is organized, completely mechanized. Another thing, individual animal. Hardly two animals are there. You can do this practice. That you are going to milk yourself, and right. But even the calf feeding is a total loss for the milk. At least 30%, one third milk is suckled by the calf. So you are losing that much. You better you wean the calf and take it to the different this thing, and its feed is already ready in the India. It is available, calf starter. So you can go with the calf starter. Calf will be healthy, and you will save your milk, and cow will also be enjoying. So everything initially, yes, for few days, if the sentimental purpose, you can do it. But in the Western country, calf is weaned on the 0 day. So there is no mother and child, bonding develops. In India, it is develops and thereafter removed. So that is, in my opinion, it's not a good thing. You should either nip in the bud, or you should continue with that. Then you continue to lose about 30-40% of the milk production. Okay, so these things are going on. See, look at the manger. This is the indigenous system of managing a farm. Even the manger means where the animal feeds. It is not to the technical this thing. It's a very high farm. It has got 400 animals in Andhra Pradesh. But what is happening? The the old days system of feeding the animal or their making their animal shed is continuing. That has to be looked into. Let us go for the parlors. Let us go for the milking parlors. Let's go for the, you know, this picture was the milking parlor. How the animal will come and they can be milked, right? But here also it is they are talking about the individual milking. So the milking parlor generally what we do is for the few animals, but the six animal parlor, 8 animal parlor, 10 animal parlor, something like that, or 2 animal parlor be done, that can be opted. So this is the way the shed should be. Look at the left side picture, you will see the shed. That kind of land is required. See how serene it should be, not disturbed by the motor vehicle and human beings. See, look, animals also need the comfort, the peace. As madam told, there is a humming sound coming out in my this thing.